You reach for the salt shaker without thinking. It sits on your dining table next to the pepper. Ordinary, cheap, completely unremarkable. You shake it over your food before you've even taken a single bite. The whole action takes less than 2 seconds. But for over 99% of human existence, salt was one of the hardest substances on Earth to find. Not inconvenient, not expensive, genuinely, physically brutal to obtain. Your ancestors spent hundreds of thousands of years wandering across barren landscapes, craving it, searching for it, and sometimes dying without it. And that pull you feel right now, that sudden urge for something salty, the instinct that makes plain food taste empty, is not a culinary preference. It is an ancient biological instruction. It was written into your nervous system long before the first human being ever walked upright. Your body needs sodium to function, not wants, needs. Without sodium, your neurons cannot fire electrical signals. Your heart cannot contract to pump blood. The fluid balance surrounding your cell membranes collapses, dropping your blood pressure to lethal levels. A human being can die of severe hyponatremia, sodium deficiency, in a matter of days. Your body knows this. It has always known this. So evolutionary biology built a hardwired alarm system inside your brain, a chemical craving so sharp that it forces you to hunt for sodium until you find it. Ancient humans felt that alarm constantly. But unlike you, they had no shakers. They had no supermarkets. Which brings us to a question that archaeologists and anthropologists spent decades fighting over. When did humans stop accidentally stumbling across sodium and start actively hunting it? The first clue to how early humans found salt doesn't come from a laboratory or an archaeological dig. It comes from watching animals. Every major herbivore on Earth faces a constant physiological crisis. Plants are high in potassium, but extremely poor in sodium. To survive, animals must go to extraordinary lengths to find mineral deposits. In the dense forests of Kenya, herds of elephants march up to 40 kilometers through pitch darkness in a Kaitum cave, a subterranean cavern inside an extinct volcano. Deep inside the cave, using nothing but their tusks, they chip away at the salt-laced rock face, eating the mineral dust directly. In North America, white-tailed deer lick road salt off highway asphalt in the dead of winter. In the Congo Basin, mountain gorillas wade into murky swamps to devour sodium-dense aquatic plants and chew riverbank clay. Early hominins watched this. Before Homo sapiens possessed tools, fire, or language, they were master observers of animal behavior. They followed the herds. They tracked migration corridors. And when an entire herd of antelopes repeatedly returned to a specific dry creek bed or a white-crusted mudflat, our ancestors realized why. For hundreds of thousands of years, the strategy was simple. Go where the animals go. Eat what the animals eat. In a natural hunter-gatherer diet, sodium came from two primary sources: fresh animal meat and blood, and geophagy, the deliberate eating of mineral-rich soils, clays, and salt licks. Anthropologist Timothy Johns of McGill University analyzed the mineral makeup of diets across traditional societies. His research revealed that for early humans living in the East African Rift Valley, sodium was a persistent, low-grade evolutionary stress. The landscape was mineral-poor in many regions. Early humans didn't live in a world of abundance. They lived in a perpetual state of slight sodium debt. For over 300,000 years, humanity lived like this. You found salt, you consumed it, and you moved on. Then, roughly 8,000 years ago, everything changed. Humans stopped looking for salt in the wild and learned how to manufacture it. In 2011, French archaeologist Olivier Weller made a discovery in northeastern Romania at a site called Lunca. What he uncovered reshaped our entire understanding of human history. At Lunca, archaeologists uncovered mounds of cracked ceramic fragments, ash layers, and charcoal pits dating back to 6000 BCE. The layout matched what experts call a briquettage site, an ancient industrial salt production facility. This was not an accidental discovery. This was an industrial chemical process. Neolithic villagers took natural brine from saltwater springs, poured it into specialized coarse ceramic vessels, and suspended them over intense fires for hours. As the water boiled away, it left behind dense, crystallized cakes of pure salt. The sheer volume of broken pottery at Lunca revealed something astonishing. These early humans were cracking hundreds of pots every season to extract salt. And chemical analysis of artifacts found up to 100 kilometers away from Lunca proved that this salt was traveling. It was being packed, carried, and traded across regions long before the invention of writing, long before the wheel, and long before the rise of the first bronze weapons. Why did this happen 8,000 years ago? Why did three completely separate civilizations, in Romania, at China's Yunqing Salt Lake, and along the coast of Peru, all invent salt production within the exact same 1,000-year window? The answer lies in the biggest mistake in human history, the agricultural revolution. When early humans abandoned hunting and gathering to settle down into farming villages, their diet fundamentally changed. Instead of eating sodium-dense meat, organs, and wild forage, their diet suddenly became 80% boiled grain, wheat, barley, millet, and rice. Grain contains almost zero natural sodium. Anthropologist Mark Nathan Cohen at SUNY Plattsburgh documented the devastating physical health impact of early agriculture. Skeletal remains of early farmers show they were shorter, suffered more bone lesions, had higher rates of tooth decay, and faced severe nutritional stress compared to hunter-gatherers. By switching to farming, humans accidentally created a global sodium crisis. The biological alarm system in their brains went into hyperdrive. The craving wasn't just a mild desire anymore. It was a life-or-death biological emergency. Salt didn't become precious because humans suddenly discovered it tasted good on food. Salt became precious because farming made sodium deficiency the default human condition. Once sodium deficiency became the default, whoever controlled salt controlled human survival. Consider the trans-Saharan trade routes of the 14th century. In the brutal heat of West Africa, salt slabs called tagaza were mined from dried lake beds in the middle of the Sahara. Caravans of thousands of camels hauled these heavy gray blocks over 1,000 kilometers south to Timbuktu. There, in the markets of the Mali Empire, salt was exchanged weight for gold dust. Think about that. 1 pound of salt for 1 pound of gold. Why? Because in a tropical agricultural society, gold cannot keep your nervous system running. Gold cannot preserve your meat. Gold cannot keep your children alive through summer drought. Salt could. Every major civilization built its power structure on the control of this single mineral. Roman soldiers were often paid an allowance specifically to buy salt, a stipend called salarium, which gives us the modern word salary. The Han Dynasty in Imperial China established the world's first state monopoly on salt in 119 BCE to fund the construction of the Great Wall. The French monarchy enforced the gabelle, a brutal tax on salt. Enforcers could execute or imprison citizens who attempted to bypass the royal salt monopolies. And in 1930, Mahatma Gandhi marched 240 miles to the sea at Dandi to scoop up a handful of untaxed salt crust. It wasn't a protest about food. It was a declaration of independence against a colonial power taxing a human biological necessity. And then, in the span of just 150 years, everything inverted. Industrial mining, deep shaft drilling, and mass transportation turned salt from the rarest commodity on Earth into one of the cheapest. Today, a kilogram of pure, refined table salt costs less than a cup of coffee. Food manufacturers put it in virtually every processed item on store shelves. Not just because it enhances flavor, but because it acts as a cheap preservative and texture stabilizer. The scarcity ended. The craving did not. In 2011, neuroscientists at the University of Veterinary Medicine Hanover discovered that sodium deficiency triggers the exact same neural reward pathways in the brain as addictive substances. When you ingest salt after a period of deprivation, your brain floods your nucleus accumbens with dopamine. Your brain rewards you for finding salt because it still thinks you were a hunter-gatherer wandering a mineral-poor African savanna 200,000 years ago. It hasn't received the memo that salt is now everywhere. A hunter-gatherer consumed around 700 milligrams of sodium per day from natural food. Today, the average modern person consumes over 3,400 milligrams daily. We are running prehistoric biological software in an environment of unprecedented abundance. The ancient alarm system inside your head is still firing, telling you to consume as much sodium as possible before the landscape runs dry. So the next time you pick up that shaker, pause for a second. Look at those tiny white crystals sitting on your plate. You are holding the end of a 300,000-year search. Your ancestors tracked elephant herds through dark caves for those crystals. They boiled brine over cracking clay pots for hours. They traded gold for it, fought revolutions over it, and built empires to control it. The craving you feel isn't a flaw in your willpower. It's a memory. It's the physical proof that your body remembers a world that no longer exists. If you made it this far, you are exactly the kind of viewer this channel exists for. We dive deep into the hidden history of human biology, ancient behaviors, and the strange gaps between the prehistoric world we evolved for and the modern world we live in today. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the subscribe button below and turn on notifications. It costs you nothing, but it helps us keep creating long-form, deeply researched stories like this one every week. Drop a comment below. Did you know about the ancient salt factories of Romania? Let us know what historical mystery we should explore next. Until next time, keep asking questions.